Okay, good morning. It is a rainy, miserable day today, but that's okay. We're going to play some blindfold chess. Level 3, let's go. I am black. E4. Now, I don't want to play the Sicilian just yet, just because they play such bizarre moves. Let's just stick. Knight F3. I actually don't know theory at all, but all right, we got the terrible exchange. Oh, I should. Oh, this isn't. It's a good thing I still have this up. This isn't actually updating yet. So if I were to do this, no, okay. There we go. Um, Minimize you so I don't have the board to look at. Get my music going. We got the bad exchange variation. Hmm. So in a perfect world, I'd play bishop c5, but can I get away with it? Bishop c5, knight takes e5, queen goes to d4. He has no way to, I guess, f4. But even if he played f4, knight takes e4, or queen takes e4. Queen takes e4 is probably safer. And I win back the pawn. Bishop d6, if he ever plays d4, that's fine. I can take it. My bishop opens up. I could play bishop g4, and if he chases me with h3 and g4, I go back to bishop g6, and then I can take on e4. That's dangerous, though, with the queen on e2. You know what? We'll just play the normal move, bishop d6. So bishop g4, I don't really want to take on f3. Let's play h6. We don't worry about the pin. I mean, the pin is absolutely no worry at all, but I can imagine the bishop coming to g3. And there's some annoying pressure, but again, even rook e8 is going to stop that. Don't really know what my plan's going to be, but I guess I just develop and eventually expand over there on the side over there, right? Maybe instead of bishop e6, let's do some rook e8, and maybe we do something on that e-file. Let's play h6, just to prevent that anything. I mean, am I worried about any sort of knight f5, f4? Not really. And putting pawns on dark squares makes sense. All right. Kind of a crappy position. Hey, it's just I guess I'm going to need to play some sort of combination of a4, b5, b4, open lines over there. That probably makes the most sense. That little bit of leg really threw me for a second. Huh, I wonder, does knight h5 going into f4? Nah. Bishop e6 makes a lot of sense at some point. Especially because there's no knight g5. I mean, it does force my bishop to remain a pawn, though, on d6. Can I just get rockin' with b5 goes to b4? Bishop e6, so I can play c5 and then c4, trying to break down the center this way. That gets rid of my pawns. Right, that's interesting. I don't really know how to play. Oh, I'm supposed to put my timer on to make sure I'm not spending too long on any of these individual moves. I'm kind of interested in a4. I keep imagining I got my bishop on c5 when I don't. It's on d6. Playing c5 actually makes a lot of sense. Bishop c5, that is. Because if I play b5 and he plays bishop e3, I then play b4. He's just going to play a4 probably. We're kind of blocked up. If I play bishop c5, I can't later play bishop e6 though because the pawn hangs. Perhaps bishop c5 and then queen goes to d6. Good square for the queen. That allows me to get all my rooks in the center, and then I can push forward. Push the bishop back. Okay. That seems like a plan. h3. So h3 makes knight h5 goes to f4 a slightly more attractive. Actually, much more attractive. And with the knight on c3, there's no immediate dangers of any c3 d4s hitting me. If he exchanges on f4, and there's no knight f3, queen h5, because I can recapture with the rook. There's no f4 hitting me. I control that square enough. Ah, and it even threatens knight goes to g3 because of the pin. A lot of things I really like about this move. It looks like it's safe. Whoa, knight g5. Knight g5 does nothing again. Knight goes to g3. Okay, let's give this a shot. So with my bishop on c5, there's nothing else on e3. I can slide into g3, and I'm hitting these two people. Yes? And g4 is just a terrible move. Aha, he was like, wow, on next level tactics. It's a really good knight. There's no, I don't need to take it right away. But then rook e1. And honestly, my knight is then trapped. So I better just take the material. King takes f1. Alrighty. Would something like f5 work? Probably not. Alright, queen f6 now is better than queen goes to d6. Pins the queen down, and if the knight moves, I can checkmate him. Woohoo! That's always a good idea. Queen f6. Maybe even something like h5. He still has the bishop on c1, though. Right, okay. That's fine. Queen goes to g6, and that actually repairs h5. His knight's completely out of the game. Yeah, neither knight has really good squares. And then I can bring my rook over to the center. Yeah, might need to look to trade that bishop. Anyway, so it's been a couple minutes. Let's just do queen f6. I'm really liking this. King goes to g2. So yeah, like... Bishop e6. Bishop goes to g5. Queen goes to g6. Knight takes e5. I can take the bishop. f4 doesn't work. There's no rook. I can just take it. Even if it didn't, I could slide back with e7 or forward to h4. Oh, we can't play bishop g5. We got the pawn on h6. Right. So, okay. Okay, okay, okay. Almost thinking of playing bishop e6, rook a goes to d1, and then bishop back to c8. Just because the bishop's kind of in the way. Bishop takes g4 might be in the cards at some point. Indeed, in all honesty, what about just queen goes to g6 right now? Bishop takes g4 then is always kind of a threat. And just h4, h5. Huh. Queen goes to g6. Let's just say he does a random move, rook a1, h5, and then g5 from white. Okay, I'm just trying to... Just queen g6, he does something. Bishop takes, pawn takes, queen takes g4. He goes anywhere. f5. Or what if we do that whole queen g6, h5, g5, f6? Just open the file that way. All right, you know what? Screw it. Let's develop a piece. Boom, d4. So I've got a pawn, a queen, and a bishop, and now I can bring a rook on over. So there's a lot to dislike about this move. As far as I can tell, it's only the knight and the queen. Opening the center is so happy. This opens the A file for me. It took me a minute to realize I still have the A on an A5. Even though there is a rook on B1 randomly. But that's fine. Okay, so I can take the knight. But losing the bishop. No. A takes, and then bishop goes back to B6. And now the knight is robbed of the A4 square because my rook controls that file, and it has to go somewhere bad. And I've now got C4 for my bishop. Anyway, so let's just take. Yeah. Rook takes e5, knight takes e5, queen takes f2. King goes to h1, bishop goes to d5. That looks crushing, does it not? Rook takes e5. Knight takes e5. I can't because my bishop's on e6. Ah. Right, okay. Well, queen goes to g6 is fully lining up that bishop takes g4 sacrifice. And it stops the knight from coming to e4. Okay. Bishop takes b4, queen takes d4. c5? Nah, just bishop b6. Oh, of course, he's got the rook on b1. Bishop b6. Keeping all the tension, I still have some threats over here. Bishop's on the great diagonal once this pawn moves, and it will move. And bishop goes to d5 is going to come as soon as that knight moves. There we go. I guess I can't do both bishop takes g4 and bishop goes to d5. Bishop takes, pawn takes, queen takes, knight goes to g3. Bishop c4, unfortunately, there is no pin. Bishop d5 is a pin. You can imagine one of the, I guess not one of the knights. Knight e takes d4. Then rook takes e5. Simply rook goes to d8. Rook a to d8 at this point. Really discouraging. Knight takes d. I'm not sure if it stops knight e takes d4 though. Oh, c5. Yeah, okay. I guess there's a pawn on b4 still. Okay. Knight to e takes. Bishop d5, knight takes d4. Rook takes e5. Other rook comes over the e-file, I suppose. Oh, okay, hold on. Is my queen? My queen is on g6. There's a rook on b1, and there's still a bishop on c1. So that rook is hanging, right? Because nothing on f5. e4 is... No, there's still a pawn on c2. Okay, there's never been c3. Whew. But they are lined up. Okay, well, let's just do bishop d5, I think. Bishops are staring down. Picking up e5. Position is opening up for the two bishops. Bishop d5, knight takes e4, rook. It's pinned. Okay. Knight goes to f4. That wasn't on my radar in the slightest bit. That's too bad. Well, queen e4 then, I suppose. Oh, wow, e6. Opening the f-file for me? The knight was on e2. There's still knight on f3. Okay, queen takes, bishop takes, bishop takes. Well, a pawn's a pawn. F-file, then I can just throw the rook on over. I think e takes d5 makes the most sense here, because then it's fully opening that e-file for me. That loses the f2 pawn, does it not? Yes, it does. It's wild his bishop c1 still hasn't moved. I have a pawn d4. Okay. Well, then I can... Friggin' pawn. I can just move the rook over to the f-file now. Tax the knight. There's no way to defend it without moving the king back over, I suppose. King g3. Very dangerous. I guess that works, eh? Huh. Is d3 brilliant? Just rook takes d3. All right, just rook f7 and then rook f8. Rook takes f3, queen takes f3, yeah. Okay, that's nice and simple, I think. And I don't think there's anything happening on the A file. Or is there? Rook goes all the way down to A1 now. This is actually really nice. And that fourth rank is wide open, right? Well, no, but it could be. I like rook a1. King goes to g1. All right. Now does d3 work? Because if he takes the queen, I can take on c1. If he takes with the rook... No. How do I break through? Okay, so g3 is now pinned. Is there any way I can make use of that? Rook takes f3, queen takes f3, he loses this. Rook takes f3, rook takes f3. Rook, rook, boom. But that's simply an exchange, right? No, it's actually worse. I'm giving up both exchanges. Well, no, at the end, I'm left with my bishop on b6. Rook takes f3, rook takes f3, rook takes c1, queen takes c1, queen takes f3. Well, think about it in the opposite order. Rook takes c1, he goes queen takes c1, and then I can take rook takes f3. Rook takes f3, queen takes f3, in which I will then threaten d3. That looks nice and simple. Especially if I can trade all the pieces off, right? So how do I want to start this? D3 first, maybe? Because that threatens to just win a straight out piece. And he has to take with the rook. Or is it better to just keep that pawn? No, I have to throw it away, because even if I were to trade everything off, that b pawn is... I'm not going to play, like... Yeah. Well, I'm committed. Oh, nice. So now, this is just a catastrophe. Yeah. Well, now rook takes f2, and then we got like... Oh, wait, no. Because he's played c3. Well, perhaps simply this then. Actually, I don't know what he does, because it is pinned. Boom! Okay. So how was that? Yeah, so in this position, knight d7 or bishop d6. Yeah. Knight d7 is a funky way of trying to get the bishop to c5. Bishop d6, perfectly equal. It then likes queen e7 here. I just castled knight d7 or a5. I played rook e8. Yeah. This is all clear. It did like knight h5 immediately. h6 is fine. a3. It does like a5. Rook b1 is weird. It does like knight h5. Bishop c5. Or bishop f8. All of this was reasonably clear, and it wasn't so much... the hard part was just, it's a complex position. As soon as he plays this, I like this. I didn't like this too much. This is a terrible move. Yeah, because of knight g3. I'm pretty happy I saw this tactic. It does like h5 immediately here. I played queen f6. And it does like this whole idea of a5, a4, b5, this sort of thing. Just opening up the queen side. I played bishop b6, which is perfectly fine. d4. Yeah, this is just bad. Takes. He plays a random move. Apparently taking on c3 is really good. Queen goes to g6. That's just what I'd play. Oh, bishop takes g4 works immediately. But this is fine. Nice and simple. It does like bishop d5. Good. Oh. That's funny. I'm not sure if I'd play bishop d5 had I seen knight f4. It's either that or bishop c4, right? I thought the computer was recommending rook takes e6, but no. All this is good. Yeah, queen e2, I was vaguely looking at that, but I wanted to... It actually likes rook a2 more, attacking c2. And d3 is the best move! I'm actually curious about this. So d3, rook takes d3. Rook takes c1. I don't think the move order matters. And now... Oh! We're going to be picking up all the pawns and then trading into a final endgame. We don't have to trade, but that'd be the easiest. Okay. And then after he played c3, rook takes f3. Good. Okay. So the difficulty in this game, I like to think the visualization was pretty strong throughout. And it was rather just not an easy position. Made some good choices. And I think it's mostly, let's try and speed this up. Pretty happy.